Welcome to Felon, True Crime Podcast. On Thursday, the 13th of October, 2016, a significant development in one of Australia's most disturbing cases took place. In light of this recent development, the story originally intended for episode 10 will be replaced by the tragic story of Stephanie Scott. A warning to listeners that this episode will contain adult themes and descriptions of violence. She sits alone at her desk, in silence, a stark contrast to the weeks prior, when students had filled the school with an excited buzz. But they would be absent for some time, and so would she. It was the first weekend of Easter break. She assumes she is alone. The staccato of tapping on her computer keyboard is the only interruption to the eerie silence. Just beyond the windows of this lonely room, predator stalks his prey. Leering from a distance, he lets his mind drift into a dark fantasy. The urges are not new. They've been with him for as long as he can remember. Depraved desire swirls through his mind, and he lets it take hold, succumbing gradually to its pull. Today, thought will become action. Reality will be born from fantasy. The town of Leeton sits in the Riverina region of New South Wales. It is about a 6-hour drive west from the New South Wales capital of Sydney and approximately a 5-hour drive north of Melbourne. Its population is listed as just under 7,000. The area is home to one of the most productive farming districts in the state, the main types of produce being citrus, grape, rice and wheat. It would be against this quiet country backdrop that one of Australia's most brutal and callous crimes would play out. Thursday, the 2nd of April, 2015, staff members at Leeton High School held a farewell party for Stephanie Scott. The coming long weekend was the start of the Easter holidays. Staff and students would be on break for a 2-week period, but this break would be special for Stephanie. She was to be married on the 11th of April, 2015, and following the wedding, her and her husband would be heading away for their honeymoon. In preparation for the break, Stephanie had decided to spend the Easter weekend preparing lessons for her classes to leave for a substitute teacher in her absence. It was on this weekend that Stephanie would disappear without a trace. Stephanie's fiancé, Aaron Leeson Woolley, was the first to raise the alarm. Aaron had gone away for the weekend, travelling to the town of Canawindra, a 3-hour drive northeast from Leeton. In Canawindra, he attended a farewell party for a mutual friend. Stephanie had decided not to go, opting to prepare for the upcoming wedding and honeymoon instead. Stephanie and Aaron had stayed in contact via SMS, but on Sunday the 5th of April, Stephanie stopped replying to his messages. He returned home that night at around 7:20 p.m, and there was no sign of his fiancée or her car. Further SMS messages to Stephanie went unanswered, prompting Aaron to alert her family and eventually the police. On Monday the 6th of April, Stephanie Scott was reported missing at Leeton Police Station. As the search for her commenced, friends and family took to social media to reach out to her or anyone that could shed light on her whereabouts. The search soon went viral, and the mainstream media reported her disappearance.
The family and fiancé of a young school teacher who's disappeared just days before her wedding have made a desperate plea for help in finding her. 26-year-old Stephanie Scott was last seen on Easter Sunday, and those closest to her now fear the worst.
26-year-old Stephanie, a secondary teacher, was last seen on Sunday morning at her school in Leeton, where she'd gone to plan lessons for the time she'd be away on her honeymoon in Tahiti. Her fiancé Aaron tried to call her at midday, but couldn't reach her.
Stephanie's fiancé Aaron shared his concern with the public.
It's baffling me, like, where could she be? The last time I spoke to her was at 10:30 on a Saturday night, and she seemed happy with how everything was going. And I just said, like, good night, I love you, like we normally do. Right out of the blue, and just not like her to do this.
4 days passed, and still no sign of Stephanie. Police, family and friends continued their search.
Police here in Leeton are certainly working on the case tonight. They say they're keeping an open mind and at this stage of their inquiries are not ruling anything out. But
As part of their investigation, authorities pieced together Stephanie's movements prior to her disappearance, establishing the following timeline. Friday, the 3rd of April. At 12:30 p.m, Aaron Leeson Woolley kissed Stephanie goodbye and told her that he loved her. He then left on his trip towards Canowindra. Saturday, the 4th of April. Stephanie ran errands. This included going to Griffith for shopping and collecting travel tickets for the honeymoon. Sunday, the 5th of April, approximately 11 a.m. Stephanie visited the home of a colleague, Monique Hardy, to collect the keys for the school. Monique travelled with her to the school to show her how to gain access. Stephanie parked her car near the gates and entered the school grounds on foot, without Monique. She then made her way to the English teacher's staff room, which was locked but not alarmed. At 12:58 p.m, the last known communication from Stephanie would be sent in the form of an email confirming payment for one of the wedding expenses. The administration block alarm is logged as being disarmed at 1:31 p.m, then rearmed 7 minutes later, indicating Stephanie left the building. Following this time, no one would hear from her. With all the mystery surrounding Stephanie's disappearance, witnesses would soon shed light on the matter, and the focus of authorities would be turned to a quiet loner living in the town of Leeton. Tuesday, the 7th of April. Police became aware that a vehicle had been seen at the Leeton High School over the Easter weekend. A vehicle belonging to a Vincent Stanford. Stanford was a cleaner for a number of schools in the area, including Leeton High School. Upon hearing this news, police were eager to speak with him and attended his home for an interview. Stanford confirmed that he had been at the school on the Sunday, but did not recall seeing Stephanie while he was there. He claimed to have cleaned some bins as part of his duties. As police left his home, he wished them luck with their search. Police were not convinced by his story, and Stanford remained a main person of interest. The following day, Vincent Stanford was requested to attend Leeton Police Station, which he did, arriving at 11 a.m. He was again questioned of his movements on the Easter Sunday. He claimed to have been cleaning at Leeton High School and saw a few people roller skating at the school. He also claimed to have attended the Golden Apple supermarket in Leeton that day. Stanford shrugged off any suggestion of his involvement in Stephanie's disappearance, but alarm bells were ringing for police. It was revealed that the Golden Apple supermarket wasn't open for business on Easter Sunday. Even more damning, a man matching Stanford's description was seen discarding what appeared to be a laptop in a canal on the outskirts of town. On the evening of Wednesday the 8th of April, police attended Stanford's home at 6 p.m. to ask whether he would attend the police station for an interview. They were also seeking permission to search the house. Stanford was not home, but his mother gave consent for police to conduct a walkthrough of the premises. Police observed fresh tyre tracks leading from the front of the house into the rear yard towards a shed. The tyre impressions were left by a vehicle with a smaller wheelbase than that of Stanford's ute. A used condom was found on the ground in that area, and nearby was some yellow tape. In Stanford's bedroom, police found a set of keys, matching the description of the keys given to Stephanie on Easter Sunday. An empty condom wrapper and condoms still in their wrappers were also found. Police declared the premises a crime scene. Stanford arrived home and was approached by police. Detective Milne said, "Have you been at work?" Stanford replied, "No, I've been out taking photographs." Police saw Stanford's camera on the front seat of the car. They also observed large timber boards in the rear of the ute with what appeared to be blood smear. Stanford's vehicle was seized, and he agreed to accompany police to the station. Police then turned on the camera and viewed the first image, which would reveal Stephanie's fate. Vincent Stanford's camera displayed the image of a burnt corpse lying in bushland. When the camera was further examined by the police at the station, it revealed another photograph of the same burnt corpse. Stanford denied that the photos were that of Stephanie Scott, saying that he downloaded them from the internet from a horror movie because he thought they were funny. He was then placed under arrest for murder. Police questioned Stanford about a number of fresh-looking scratch marks on his face and arms. He suggested that they were from different incidents of bumping his head and running into a tree branch about a week ago. A forensic examination was undertaken on Stanford's ute. Smears on the timber boards tested positive for human blood. Also located in the vehicle was a GPS navigation device, which had recent locations, including Boundary Road, a gravel road from which Kokopara National Park can be accessed. Stanford was given the opportunity to speak with a solicitor, and he declined to be interviewed. He consented to a number of forensic procedures, including the examination, photographing, and measuring of his injuries, and the taking of fingernail scrapings and a saliva sample for DNA. Thursday, the 9th of April. Stephanie Scott's car was found in Pike Road, Wamoon, about 11 kilometres from Leeton.
Police are searching fields and a vineyard near where the young teacher's red Mazda was found earlier this week. Police divers are also searching a canal in that area, and it's believed they have retrieved a laptop from the canal. Now,
forensic testing revealed human blood in the boot and on the external bumper bar. Friday, the 10th of April. The burned remains of Stephanie Scott were located on the edge of Kokopara National Park in the late afternoon.
All right, just here this morning to confirm the news reports overnight that police located the remains of who we believe is Stephanie Scott at Kokopara National Park yesterday afternoon. A crime scene was established from about 5 o'clock. That scene has been processed overnight and further examinations will occur throughout.
Police soon realised that the appearance of the corpse matched the images on Stanford's camera. Saturday, the 11th of April. Stanford spoke with corrective services officers at Junee Correctional Centre and asked to speak with the police officer in charge of the investigation. Police soon attended and an interview was conducted, in which the offender made admissions to the murder. He was further interviewed on the 21st of April 2015. During these interviews, his matter-of-fact confessions, void of remorse or any form of emotion, would reveal Stephanie Scott's horrific final moments.
Can you just tell me exactly what happened when she walked in? When you said you were waiting for her to come out, were you? You were waiting for her to finish her work?
Yes.
Okay. What exactly happened then? When she finished her work, what did you do?
I picked her up from behind with my right hand over her mouth and my left hand around her middle. I dragged her into the store. I closed the door behind us, I chucked her on the floor, and I beat her to death.
You say with your fists?
Yes.
Did you use any other weapon?
I did use a knife as well.
A knife?
Yes, a clip point knife.
What?
A clip point knife.
What's a clip point knife?
It's a knife that's angled from the top and again at the bottom. It should be at my house.
Where was she when you first saw her?
She was in the staff room upstairs for the English drama math teacher.
Okay. What was she doing?
She was working on a computer.
Was the staff room door open, closed, or
Open.
where were you at that time then?
I was working and I had our pressure cleaner out to clean the garbage bins and put some of the garbage bins upstairs. That's when I saw her.
In class, in the staff room?
Yes.
Did you say anything to her at that time?
No.
Did she say anything to you?
No,
Did she see you?
I think so.
You made me think so.
I walked by the door, so she probably knew I was there.
But you didn't say anything to her.
No,
So what? So she's sitting in that room alone, is that right? Was she in that?
yes,
In the staff room alone. Did she, you say you got a feeling that you had to do it. What feeling? Can you describe that to me upon seeing her? What feeling came over you? Like, what did you feel?
just that I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything. Basically emotionless, just that I had to kill her.
Yep. Did you start waiting from that moment?
No, I continued working.
How long did you continue working till you went and waited?
Until she was ready to leave.
How did you know she was ready to leave?
She put the alarm on in the admin. She said she was leaving.
She said she spoke
Yes.
to you.
I was by the front gate at the time, so was she. That's when I picked her up at about 11:30, I think.
Yep.
She was walking towards the front gate.
Towards you.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I grabbed her.
Where did she speak to you? You said she
When
spoke.
she was walking away from admin towards the front gate.
And what words did she say to you?
I'm going. Have a happy Easter.
I'm going to have a happy Easter.
Yes.
Did she get past you, out of the... Did she get through the gate?
No.
No, you got her, and you said you grabbed her
Yes.
before she got out of the gate.
Yes, the gate was locked.
The gate was locked.
Yes.
Who locked the gate?
I think she locked it behind her when she came in.
Are you able to tell me why you got angry at Stephanie and why you wanted to kill her?
I didn't really feel anger. I just wanted to kill her.
Oh, so you didn't feel anger?
No. I
You
don't
just
feel
wanted
a
to
lot of
kill her?
emotion.
Okay. So you just wanted to kill her?
Yes.
Can you tell me why you wanted to kill her?
No. I think I just my mental health acting up again.
Okay.
One of my obsessions, rages.
Based on the evidence and discussions with Stanford, police pieced together Stephanie's final movements and a timeline of Stanford's attempts to cover up his crime. On Sunday the 5th of April, Stanford arrived at the school at 7:30 a.m. He was able to access many of the areas of the school without needing to turn off an alarm. He deactivated the administration block alarm at 9:03 a.m. His car was seen in the school car park a number of times during the mid to late morning. Stanford had first seen Stephanie when she was in the staff room working on her computer. In his confession, he told police that he had no idea that she would be there that day and that he had never met her before. He said that when he saw her, a feeling came over him, which he described as, just that I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything, basically emotionless, just that I had to kill her. He waited for Stephanie to leave. After leaving the administration block, Stephanie walked along an enclosed corridor towards the locked school gates. Stanford was waiting for her. She saw him and said, "I'm going now. Have a happy Easter." She stopped and attempted to get the keys out of her bag to open the gate. Stanford grabbed her from behind with his right arm over her mouth and his left arm around her middle. Walking backwards, he dragged her along a corridor towards a storage room, which had previously been used as a photographic darkroom. Stephanie struggled and fought back. She scratched the offender's face and tried to yell as she endeavoured to free herself. She dropped some of her belongings along the way. Stanford claimed that he'd never been in this room before this day. He told police that he'd opened it earlier that day because he just wanted to see inside. He had left the door open. After he dragged Stephanie inside the dark room, he released her. As he turned to close the door, she tried to run out of the room. He then pushed her, and she fell face down on the floor between some timber boards and a locker. Stanford put his left arm over Stephanie's throat and started beating her to the face with his right fist 30 or 40 times. She struggled for 40 to 50 seconds before she became unconscious. At this point, Stanford raped her. As Stephanie lay on the floor, the offender placed his left hand on her throat. He removed a 40cm knife from his right pocket and he stabbed her in the throat. Following the murder of Stephanie, Stanford left her lying where she was, and he went home and had lunch. He then returned to the school. He picked up Stephanie's belongings, including her car keys, which he had dropped while she was being dragged away. At some point after returning to the school, Stanford went out and retrieved Stephanie's car. He drove it into the school grounds. He then carried her body to the car. He put some yellow masking tape on her neck to try and stop the bleeding. He placed plastic into the boot of the car and put the body on top of it. He then collected a high-pressure hose and cleaned the scene for the next few hours. He then drove Stephanie's car back to his house with her body in the boot. He walked back to the school to collect his own vehicle. He loaded the blood-soaked timber boards from the storeroom into the back of his ute and drove away. Soon after this time, Stanford was seen throwing Stephanie's laptop into a canal outside of town. Late that night, Stanford drove Stephanie's car to a location near a service station. He entered the service station on foot and filled a jerry can with petrol. In the early hours of Monday the 6th of April, Stanford drove Stephanie's car to the Kokopara National Park, about 50 kilometers north of Leeton. He removed her body from the boot of the car and put it on the ground. He removed all of her clothing. Stanford then placed her clothes, a sun visor, and the plastic from the boot into a backpack. Shortly after 3 a.m, Stanford turned on his phone, having turned it off in Leeton about 1:15 a.m. He took 6 photographs. The first 3 are too dark to show anything, but the last 3 are of Stephanie, naked with a towel covering her head. Stanford then put branches on the body along with 20 litres of petrol before setting it alight. Most of the fuel was placed in the area between the upper thighs and lower ribcage. Court documents state it seems to be a reasonable inference that the offender was attempting to destroy evidence of the sexual element of his crime. After burning the body, Stanford drove Stephanie's car back to his home, where he removed the jerry can and boot liner. He changed his clothing. He then drove back out of Leeton and abandoned the car and walked back into town. At 7:30 a.m, Stanford met with his mother at a supermarket. She described his behaviour as normal. He told her he had just been for a walk. Following this time, he began disposing of Stephanie's property, which he had stored in the wardrobe in his bedroom. He drove around in his ute and dumped her belongings in public garbage bins. Her clothes were not found, but the police recovered the car sun visor and other items in a bin in the nearby town of Griffith. On Tuesday the 7th of April, Stanford attended work at a college building in Leeton. He arrived at about 4:30 a.m. and was to work until 8 a.m. While he was at work, he was asked by a colleague if he had seen Stephanie while working at Leeton High School over the weekend, and he replied that he hadn't. Another person remarked that Stephanie probably got cold feet in regard to the wedding. Stanford was seen to smile and giggle. It would be on this evening that the police would pay Stanford their first visit. Wednesday the 8th of April. Sometime between 2 and 3 a.m, Stanford's older brother, Luke, came out of his bedroom and saw Stanford standing near the fireplace. He was burning personal artifacts, later revealed to belong to Stephanie. Later that afternoon, Stanford returned to the Kookaburra National Park. While he was there, he took photographs of the burnt corpse. It was following this visit that he ran into police when he returned home. During the course of the investigation, police located a number of items linking the offender and the crimes. The used condom, located on the 8th of April in the yard of the accused, near where he had parked Stephanie Scott's car, was examined and revealed that Stephanie's DNA was on the outside and the offender's on the inside. The DNA did not originate from blood. The yellow duct tape found near this condom was that which the offender said he used to stop blood flowing from Stephanie's neck wound. In a cupboard in the offender's bedroom, police found a bottle of personal lubricant, a condom box containing 2 unopened condoms, and a set of handcuffs. All of these items had Stephanie's blood on them. The knife used to stab Stephanie was located in close proximity. A red bra, identified as belonging to Stephanie, was also found. The offender told police that he kept it because maybe I wanted a souvenir. On the 13th of October 2016, one day before what would have been Stephanie's 28th birthday, Vincent Stanford was sentenced to life imprisonment with no chance of parole. During his sentence, the judge recounted details of Stanford's computer and phone search history.
The search histories from the offender's phone and computer revealed that he very regularly searched in relation to violent rape, violent sex, hardcore pornography and murder. He also conducted searches in relation to necrophilia and necro-rape. Examples of searches conducted by the offender on the 21st of February 2015 included bride rape, bride kidnapping, virgin bride brutally raped by drunk man / rape videos, and Muslim man rapes child bride until she dies. Immediately following those searches was a rape porn video titled Japanese Teacher, Clothes Cut Off and Gang Raped by Students. The bride searches on that date occurred whilst the offender was already working casually at Leeton High School, according to the agreed facts. They were also conducted very shortly before he began his 5-week relief position there. There was a prior bride search on the 8th of December 2014. The offender was an account holder at a security company that supplies handcuffs, batons, knives and the like. On the 10th of October 2014, he ordered handcuffs and a half sword. The day prior to Ms. Scott's murder, he ordered another knife and more handcuffs. He also attempted to purchase leg cuffs. He told police that he just wanted them. The offender also ordered various sex toys from an internet provider. The day prior to the murder, the offender conducted a number of Google searches in the late afternoon. The search terms included widow maker, widow knives, sharpest puncture knives, sharpest knife tips, sharpest knife you can...
Vincent Stanford has been sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of Stephanie Scott and 15 years for the aggravated sexual assault. So that's a final resolution in that what has been a heartbreaking case for Australia and certainly for the communities of Leeton. The case has been heard in Griffith, but those country New South Wales communities were literally torn apart with grief by what happened to Stephanie Scott just days before she was due to be married. She went to the high school where she works to do some preparation on a weekend, and the cleaner, Vincent Stanford, attacked her, raped her, assaulted her and then killed her.
The public interest in this tragedy is understandable. Stephanie embodied all that is good about humankind. She made a tangible difference to the lives of so many people. Stephanie would want us to resume our lives. We need to be kind to ourselves and let the music and fun back in. Tomorrow we begin to celebrate Stephanie's too short, amazing life. This should be her 28th birthday, the second one we celebrate without her. We will be having a cup of tea and a mint slice biscuit at 3, so please join us. Thank you.